Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of our videocasts and podcasts by univrm.com. Today is one of our Science Current Events articles titled Social Paradigm Shift. A recent study by anthropologists published in Nature magazine about the Hadza tribal group in Tanzania who live as humans did 10,000 years ago. Very interesting. You can see a link to the Nature article on our website. The Hadza tribal group, a culture predating mass civilization and are genetically identical to civilized people. Combining this study with a recent article by Dr. Alison Gopnik on psychology and neuroscience of the human brain as it relates to social paradigm shifts contains an interesting lesson for the ills of modern society through understanding science current events. You can see a link to Dr. Gopnik's article on our website. Recent work linking genetic variation to social network structure lent further credence to the idea that social networks may have evolved for purposes of survival. For instance, scientists have found that social networks of identical twins are more similar than fraternal twins, suggesting genes play a role. If these properties are written in our genes, is this something we would find in humans who lived like we would have lived thousands of years ago? Asked UC San Diego social scientist James Fowler, one of the study's co-authors. To test the theory, Harvard Medical School researcher Corin Apicella traveled to remote regions of Tanzania to study members of a tiny group of hunter-gatherers known as the Hadza. The Hadza are very similar in lifestyle and culture to ancient humans in the Pleistocene era prior to mass civilization. The Hadza have no agriculture, carry few or no possessions, set up camp to forage and hunt, and relocate every 4 to 6 weeks after stripping the bushes and baobab trees within walking distance. In the Nature article, a team of researchers mapped out the relationships among a remote group of 205 hunter-gatherers in Tanzania who lived as humans did about 10,000 years ago, and found that their social networks are very much like ours, even in the absence of the complicating factors of megacities, cell phones, and the internet. The researchers found that individuals who are willing to cooperate prefer the company of other cooperative people, and that free riders tend to stick to their own kind as well. In an advertisement, please remember univrm.com is offering a new science fiction book series titled Change Hope, released as a series on a chapter and book-by-book basis like the old Amazing Stories magazine. Change Hope, available in all ebook formats and as an audiobook, you can purchase by going to www.univrm.com/downloads/. One of the most distinctive evolutionary features of human beings is our unusually long, protected childhood. Human children depend on adults for much longer than any other primate group. That long protected period also allows us to learn much more than any other animal. Eventually, we have to leave the safe bubble of family life, take what we learned as children, and apply it to the real world. In the past, to become a good gatherer or hunter, cook or caregiver, you actually practiced gathering, hunting, cooking, and taking care of children all through middle childhood and early adolescence, tuning up the prefrontal wiring you need as an adult. As shown in the study of the Hadza, you do that under expert adult supervision in the protective world of childhood, where the impact of your inevitable failures are blunted. When the motivational juice of puberty arrives, you are ready to go after the real rewards in the world outside with new intensity and exuberance, but you also have the skill and control to do it effectively and reasonably safely. In contemporary life, the relationship between these two systems has changed dramatically. Puberty arrives earlier, and the motivational system kicks in earlier too. Knowing physics and chemistry is no help with a souffle. Wide-ranging, flexible, and broad learning, the kind we encourage in high school and college, may actually be in tension with the ability to develop finely honed, controlled, focused expertise in a particular skill, the kind of learning that once routinely took place in human societies. For most of our history, Children have started their internships when they were 7, not 27. At the same time, contemporary children have little experience with the kinds of tasks that they have to perform in society. Children have increasingly little chance to practice even basic skills like cooking and caregiving. Contemporary adolescents and pre-adolescents often do not do much of anything except go to school. Even the paper route and the babysitting job have largely disappeared. The experience of trying to achieve a real goal in real time in the real world increasingly delayed, and the growth of the control system depends on just those experiences. The pediatrician and developmental psychologist Ronald Dahl at the University of California, Berkeley, has a good metaphor for the result. Today's adolescents develop an accelerator a long time before they can steer and brake. The old have always complained about the young, of course. This new explanation based on developmental timing elegantly accounts for the paradoxes of our particular crop of seniors, adults, adolescents, and children. Public policy debates about human society often turn on the question of when, exactly, certain areas of the brain develop, and so at what age humans are allowed to do anything from driving, working, marrying, voting, drinking, retiring, or held responsible for crimes. For example, the new view of the adolescent brain proves the prefrontal lobes show up but are not properly instructed and exercised. The Hasta do not suffer social tension between age groups. Experience, biology, and psychology synchronized by real-world factors, not edicts or dictates. Scientific advancement proves empirically we can learn a lot from how to get along with each other through a social paradigm shift taken from studying the Hasta, or in other words, our past. In an advertisement, please remember UNIVRM.com is offering a new science fiction book series titled Change Hope, released as a series on a chapter and book-by-book basis like the old Amazing Stories magazine. Change Hope available in all ebook formats and as an audiobook. You can purchase by going to www.univrm.com/downloads/. You can subscribe to our articles via podcast at the iTunes Store by searching for univrm.com. You can also listen or subscribe to our articles via videocast or podcast on YouTube on the UNIVRM channel. This has been a videocast and podcast by univrm.com, and we look forward to bringing you more in future.